And a very pleasant good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of Tornado Talk, when we talk all things Brevard College Tornado Athletics. Glad you're able to join us. We have another exciting show on tap this evening, like going on around Brevard College Tornado Athletics, spring sports in full bloom. But before we get started, do want to thank our sponsors of Brevard College Tornado Athletics. Appreciate their support throughout the season. Arby's, BSN Sports, eGolf Ford of Brevard, Hampton Inn, Ingles, Jets Pizza, Party Sports Medicine, Pepsi, Sully Steamers, Triangle Stop, and Young Transportation. And special recognition to Party UNC Healthcare, Party Sports Medicine. Really appreciate all they do to continue to keep our student athletes healthy. And also a shout out to our athletic trainers. It is National Athletic Training Month here in the month of March. So appreciate all their hard work as well. Well, let's bring you around the world of tornado athletics. We've had a lot going on as of late. Baseball continues to be red hot, a series sweep over Pfeiffer over the weekend, getting that conference record elevated that much further. Some conference awards just handed out this afternoon. Frankie Vasquez, the third baseman, USA South Player of the Week, and Connor Crosby, who had a dominant pitching performance, USA South Rookie of the Week. So congratulations to those two. You'll have a chance to see the Tornadoes baseball team back in action this weekend. 3-game series Saturday and Sunday at Gil Cone Field. Women's lacrosse, we'll be talking some women's lacrosse later with some guests. A big 12-10 win over Ferrum this past week. And as a result for that performance, Lex McLaughlin, the goalkeeper for the Tornadoes, named USA South Defensive Player of the Week. Congratulations to Lex. Women's lacrosse will hit the road tomorrow with a USA South Conference road game at Pfeiffer. And then this weekend, a chance to see the Tornadoes in action as BC takes on NC Wesleyan, 1 p.m. Saturday at Islamel Family Field. It's the special Morgan's Message game, which supports a very important cause. We'll tell you more about that as we speak to our women's lacrosse guests later in the show. Men's lacrosse will be back in action this weekend as well. They're on the road for their next couple games. They'll be at William Peace, 3 p.m. Saturday in Cary, North Carolina, in case you're in the area, in the Raleigh-Durham area. Women's tennis coming off a big 8-1 win over William Peace. Very impressive weekend for the tennis teams. Hannah Hirsch and Allie Kogoy named USA South Doubles Team of the Week. So congratulations to Hannah and Allie. We'll have some tennis guests later in the show also. In women's tennis, this is noteworthy. 6-1 record in the month of March. Really nicely done as we turn the page from March into April. Next up for the women's tennis team, BC versus Meredith. That's 11 a.m. this Saturday at the McCoy Tennis Complex. Men's tennis likewise had a big win in USA South Conference competition, 8-1 over William Peace. Track and field a successful weekend at the Montreat Invitational, and they'll be back in action at the SWU Gotta Run Invite this weekend in Central South Carolina. Softball, a big 11-2 win over Salem, game 2 of a doubleheader. That was just played yesterday in Winston-Salem, and then the Tornadoes will go on a intense few days of softball. We're going to play a lot of softball, and this really all began yesterday. BC versus Meredith. That's tomorrow. A chance for you to see the Tornadoes right here at the BC softball field. Doubleheader starts at 1 o'clock. And then the Tornadoes will head to Virginia to take on Mary Baldwin on Friday, and then Southern Virginia on Saturday. Sunday, back here at the BC softball field. Come on out because it's a special day when the Tornadoes honor the senior class. Doubleheader begins at 1 o'clock. We'll have the senior day ceremony prior to that first game of the doubleheader, and then the Tornadoes will take on Sweetbriar on Sunday. And with that, we are going to invite in our first guest of the evening as welcoming in once again softball head coach Bree Shearin, also assistant coach Taylor Hanna. Coach Shearin, thanks for joining the program.
Hey, how are you?
Outstanding. And assistant coach Taylor Hanna joining us as well. Coach Hanna, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Excellent. Thank you. Well, Coach Shearin, I touched on it a little bit in the open there. This is almost unprecedented, especially for this time of the season. Sometimes you might see this in these tournament scenarios, but the idea that we're playing a grand total of 10 softball games in 8 days, beginning with the trip yesterday, we'll be at home for a couple of the doubleheaders, but also on the road again. I'd love for your thoughts as far as this week ahead, and sort of, the schedule for the team, and obviously, success at a paramount through it all, but how you're managing the schedule and also the challenges that the schedule brings.
Yeah, so it's crazy. The weather has not been our friend this year at all, but they normally put Mary Baldwin. We're going to face Mary Baldwin in Southern Virginia at the end of the week. They normally put them together because they're pretty close. So we're going to be in a hotel for 2 nights. So the girls will be rested and we'll be okay just because we're not having to travel as far as most people think. We're not going there and back. So that won't be that bad. And then senior day is Sweetbriar. So, and we're pretty familiar with them. We recruit with that coach a lot. So I know kind of what they have. We've been lucky with our spray chart situation. And they prepare us really, really well. So I've been talking with our pitching staff about, what to expect. So they know the hitters, they know their names. The girls talked about having film tonight, like in the dorms, and they're having dinner together and stuff like that. So they're very prepared for the stuff ahead. And at practice right now, we're not practicing too much because we're playing so much. So it's really just reps and staying consistent and just pushing on because it's a lot of games, Phil.
Yeah, and Coach Hannah, you were a prolific student athlete here at Brevard College, and not too long ago, you were on that very playing field. I think people might not realize, but softball players are used to playing a bunch of games in a short period of time in a lot of scenarios, correct?
Yeah, so majority of us come out of travel ball, and normally in travel ball, you can play anywhere from 4 to 6 games in one day. Now, granted, those usually have time limits, but it's still usually an hour and a half that you're playing 4 to 6 games. So you kind of got to get back used to it because once you get to college, normally we play double headers. So when these big long stretches come out, we try to get our mindset back into it, but it's nothing the girls haven't done already in their careers.
Well, Coach Shearin, I'd like to reflect back on yesterday, a trip to Winston-Salem, North Carolina, the first USA South Conference matchup of the season. So, not only, a bunch of games going on, but most of them in conference play now. But, Tornadoes fall 6-3 in game number 1 of the doubleheader, but then bounce back big time with a resounding 11-2 win in game number 2. Love to have your thoughts as far as, that series at Salem yesterday.
Yeah, I think a lot of that right now is just based on the age of our team too. We have a lot of like underclassmen, sophomores, and freshmen in the lineup. But I will say the seniors have showed out. They're really like taking that leadership role. And we talked to the team after game 1 and just said, sometimes you got to remind them like what the seniors are going through because they can't comprehend that yet as freshmen and sophomores, and just saying this isn't how the seniors necessarily want to go out, so have their back. And they did that in game 2. And we talked to them and we said, it's not an option to leave this field without at least one today. And then they showed up. And so I know at one point Mo hit that home run in the first game and gave us some life. And Beth is always on base for her at the bottom of the lineup. So they are just kind of the dynamic duo of the year. Whenever that kind of turns around for us, we know something good's about to happen. And then Jazz, she'll be on the show later. She had a really good day too. So, in both games. But so we had the pieces, we just weren't putting them together in that first game. And we weren't doing necessarily the little things like Coach Taylor always talks to the girls about fully correct. But in game 2, they came out and they were ready to go. Sometimes they need a little reminder.
Coach Hannah, would you like to add to that? What are some of the things you noticed Sunday?
I really think bouncing back in game 2, we kind of talked to them a little bit that earlier in the season, we were having to like pull a lot of energy out of them in game 2. So we talked about maybe slowing it down a little bit in game 1 to get us to game 2. And now we're kind of fighting on the other side of it, trying to get them to give us more energy in game 1. And I think coming off of that big win yesterday, bringing it into tomorrow, and then also playing at our home field, we normally bring that energy. So if we can just come in game 1 the way we come in game 2 without that little reminder, if they can remind themselves, then I think we'll be good to go.
Yeah, and Coach Shearin, it's 11 runs is a big number in that win yesterday, but also want to take note of Grace Reynolds' performance. In the circle, going the complete 7 innings, just allowing 2 runs on 8 hits, shut out the Spirits. From the inning 2 onward. The only runs given up in that first inning. I would love to hear your comments on not only Grace but the pitching staff.
The pitching staff, we work really, really hard, and they really do buy into the charts that we have on other teams. And the more information they have, the better we seem to do. There are some teams and some dynamics where they're like, I don't want to over prepare myself and create anxiety. But for us, the preparation is the best part. So they enjoy that. We go in the bullpen and we sit down and we tell them what's ahead. Grace, we always tell her, like, your specialty is hitting your spots. That's like what she's known for on our team. She's very consistent in that. I mean, I can call anything I want. I know it's going to go there. No pitcher is perfect. I think that's another misconception with our sport is pitching kind of flies under the radar sometimes, but it's really hard to hit your spots consistently. And I think that our pitchers do that very well. And when they struggle, they have support behind them and they know that someone else on the staff is going to pick them up that day. So our pitching staff is doing very well at the moment.
Very good. Coach Hannah, I know, you've managed some of these pitchers from that catching position, over the years and so forth. What are you seeing as far as what's working well in terms of that, pitcher catcher dynamic out there this season now that you're a coach?
I think it helps that I did get to catch both Grace and Lindsay and Abby. So really, I only didn't get to catch Kennedy, and she's buying into it also. But I think a big thing with Grace, she's had 2 really good games for us. She pitched really well against Carolina at their place, or at home, excuse me. And then yesterday, she's very stoic. And Abby Delp's getting better at that and being very stoic on the mound. Lindsay Toll's also doing that. So I think just working with them and the catchers, trying to give them the confidence that they need. So, yeah.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Next up, a home matchup versus Meredith. That's tomorrow. Hope folks can join us 1 p.m. at the BC softball field. Considering what you saw yesterday, Coach Shearin, and now that we're heading into, further USA South Conference play, it's the home conference opener tomorrow versus Meredith. What's the key to the Tornadoes coming away with a couple wins tomorrow?
Our key is going to be our defense and hitting the ball on the ground. I mean, those are the 2 things that we talked about today after practice. You actually saw you coming up from baseball and you saw all the girls like talking about stuff and us like on the gator. And that's what we were talking about while we were pulling away is just, we've got to hit the ball on the ground. Our field right now is very hard. And that's something that we don't see too much in Brevard because it rains so much. So, the last few days of the sun has been good for us. But it's going to be a hard ground tomorrow. So we're telling them just pound the ball into the ground and good things will happen. And make the easy plays that we're supposed to make and the ESPN plays, they just naturally happen. So I think if we hit the ball on the ground and, make the easy plays, then we'll be all right.
Yeah. Between myself and Brady Penn, we love those ESPN Webb gems when there's one of those out there on the defensive side.
I do too, trust me. I love those too.
Yeah. Coach Hannah, the importance of defense, I know you've lived it as a player, but now you see it from the coaching perspective. Tell us even more just how critical that is.
Yeah, it's a big deal for us. Luckily, the 3 of us on the coaching staff, we all 3 love defense. So it's a lot of fun when we get to coach what we love. And our pitchers are pitch to contact. So Abby Delp's going to strike out a few more than the other 2, but the other 2 are really going to rely on their defense. And another thing in our game is when our pitchers know that they have a good defense behind them, they throw better. So everything just works in our favor. We also get to swing the bat a little more loose when we're playing very good defense, and that works in our favor too. So again, just like I always say, if we put the little puzzle pieces together, the picture's going to turn out pretty good for the Nados.
Very good. Well, as we mentioned, following tomorrow's matchup versus Meredith, hit the road for a doubleheader at Mary Baldwin on Friday, at Southern Virginia Saturday, and then Senior Day on Sunday versus Sweetbriar. That begins at 1:00. Hope fans can get out there early because we'll be having the big Senior Day ceremony prior to the first pitch versus Sweetbriar. Coach Shearin, I know this is a very special class. I'd love for you to, take as much time as you need as far as, telling NATO Nation just how special this group is collectively.
Yeah, they've been through a lot. I mean, they have a different type of bond than most because they were in that beginning stages of me being here. I want to say this group, I got here their sophomore year. And so they were recruited by somebody else, but then bought into what I brought into this program. So they were still kind of in that genre of things. But they're massive to our success. I said that yesterday actually to the whole team. And I was like, you guys need to look up to your seniors. Because if you look at our stats, most of our seniors are leading in a lot of things. And yesterday, actually, again, to talk about that home run with Mo and Beth on base, the other team called time and I brought them in and I said, guys, it's your senior year. Let's squeeze every inch we can out of this day. And then Mo comes up and hits the home run with Beth on base. And that was just one of those moments that you don't forget. And you talk about on senior day, those are those kind of cool things that happen. But this group of seniors, they lead very well. They're definitely bulldogs, I would say, as far as their personalities go, but they're a huge part of our success. I'm blessed to have them on the team for sure.
Outstanding. Coaches, can you stick with us just a couple moments more? We're going to effort a few of your student athletes into the program now. Mm-hmm. As joining the show now, indeed, we have Mikayla Morgan, we have Grace Reynolds, we've got Jasmine Webb, we've got a full house here at Tornado Talk. Coach Hannah, let's start with you. Can you help introduce these three to NATO Nation?
I can. So I'll start with the ones that I played with because I have a good relationship with them. I'm working on it with Jazz. She's new, but Mikayla Morgan, easily one of the best shortstops that I've ever seen, even playing wise and recruiting wise over the summer. She's just a stud. She's a big leader for us. We always say if Mo's going to have success, then we know the rest of the team's going to have success. She kind of sets the tone for us up at 1. So Mo's a big piece to our success. And then Grace, like I said, she's kind of coming out of her shell a little bit this year. I got the opportunity to catch her last year, and she was very quiet, very stoic, like I mentioned, but she's kind of coming out of her shell. She's speaking up a little bit more, making us laugh here and there. She's like one of those sneaky, funny kind of kids, and she's doing her job very well. And then Jasmine Webb's probably one of the fastest kids I've ever seen. She's coming into her role really big for us and playing the outfield when she didn't really come in as an outfielder. So she's really coming into herself and buying into the way the natives play.
Outstanding. Coach Shearin, before we let you go, tell us even more about these three.
Yeah, so Jazz is probably one of the strongest freshmen I've ever seen, to be honest. She's always in the gym, and that pays off in her hitting. And right now, we tweaked a little bit of things with her when she first got here, and now she's just completely blossoming open. And honestly, your strength is what gets you a lot of those base hits. So the off-season stuff really, really helps with your game. Grace, I always say to everybody, like, she's going to hit her spots. Like, that's very consistent for her. She helps the defense because we know when we call certain things, the pitch is going to go there. So our defense knows how to play when Grace is on the mound a lot of times. And then Mo, again, me and Coach Taylor actually just had this conversation. And last year we were always, Emily White. And like Mo is kind of our Emily White this year. And she's at the top of the conference with her average right now. We know she's going to get on base somehow, and she's going to steal bases, and she's fast, and she's going to make the defense do something. So these are three special ones. They're good.
Outstanding. Well, can't wait to get to know them even further on this edition of Tornado Talk. Coach Bree Shearin, Coach Taylor, Hannah, thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you at the BC softball field beginning tomorrow.
Thanks, Phil.
Thanks, Phil.
All right, there they go. And as the coaches helped introduce us to these three, in the top right corner, senior shortstop Mikayla Morgan. Mikayla, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing great, thank you. Thanks for joining the program. Also, Grace Reynolds, the sophomore pitcher from Troy, North Carolina. Grace has joined the program. How you doing, Grace?
I'm good. How are you?
In making her Tornado Talk debut, Jasmine Webb, the freshman outfielder from Morganton, North Carolina. Jasmine, thanks for joining the show.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Well, outstanding. Well, Mikayla, let's start with you. It's really interesting how yesterday unfolded because you hit a home run in that 7th inning, and guys started to mount a comeback. You ended up, falling short, but it seemed like that really springboarded the Tornadoes into that second game as far as that momentum from that top of the 7th into the second game where you guys end up blowing out Salem. I'd love to, from your perspective, kind of how that all went down and, your feelings through the whole thing.
Well, I trust my teammates a lot to be behind me. I just relax and play at that point because I know that they have my back. Even though it didn't go our way the first game, we took that energy to the second game and blew them out the second game.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. And Grace, you were a big part of that second game win, of course, a complete game win. You shut out the Salem Spirits from the second inning onward, really giving the offense a big opportunity to deliver. And they certainly did with 11 runs, as you see right there. But I would love to hear your perspective, Grace, as far as your day in the circle and, just how, the team did it collectively. But obviously you got it done as the pitcher.
I mostly trusted my defense behind me because most of the time I know if the ball gets fallen in the outfield, they're more than likely going to catch it. And Mo's definitely always there. She has my back whenever I don't do like a pitch that doesn't go the right way. She's like, "You got it. It's okay." So it was definitely a big help.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Big part of it, Grace Reynolds with that pitching performance, that the complete game win at Salem, getting this USA South Conference season going. And then also with this Jasmine Webb, Jasmine, you had a big game also in this Salem win yesterday, 2 for 4, a double. So, you're able to get your collegiate career going with it, your first career double, 2 runs scored. So you're burning it up on the base pass. From your perspective, tell us about that game. How much fun was that to have that kind of performance and for the team to come up with a big win?
Oh, yeah, it was a lot of fun. I always know my teammates are going to be there to support me, whether I'm down at the plate or up at the plate. I just know they're going to be there and to fall on and trust. Everyone showed out yesterday for the second game, and it was just a really good environment to be there.
Yeah, no doubt. And, this is a critical time of the season. And Mikayla, we'll bring it back to you. You guys are playing all these games in a short amount of time. The conference season's getting going. We're going to have a big senior day ceremony, so there's going to be a lot of hoopla around that. But this is a big week for the Tornadoes. I know you guys just came off the practice field, but Mikayla, would love to hear from you as far as, sort of the team's mentality this week and just how big of a week it is for the NATOs this season.
I think this weekend is very critical, like you said, to our season, but I also think that our team can relax and play like we know how to play because we can back each other up. It's just if we support each other and back each other up on the field, which pitching-wise, we got that, defensive-wise, bats, all of that. So I think that this weekend, if we relax and play and keep it simple, we'll be fine.
Yeah, and as the graphic shows, you're certainly getting it done with the bat. Mikayla, second in the USA South Conference in batting average. Mikayla, is that something, you guys as a team keep an eye on, hey, where do we rank? Emily White had an enormous season last year. Coach mentioned her where she was not only on top of the USA South, but leading the country in a lot of ways. I know, a lot of the players kind of maybe not look closely at the stats, but it's also something that's kind of fun to look at and see where you rank. Is it something you pay attention to?
Not really, because I think I psych myself out when I look at my batting average. I kind of just play my game and be there for my teammates, because if my teammates are up, then I want them to succeed as well as my success too, because I want to see my teammates have a batting average better than mine than how mine is. So
that team mentality, I really appreciate that. If there's one thing I have noted about Tornado student athletes over my years of doing this program is the humility and the team mentality through it all. So I really commend you with that answer there. Grace Reynolds, sophomore pitcher from Troy, North Carolina. Grace, tell us a little bit about your background as a softball player. When did you get started? When did it become serious? And how'd you find Brevard College?
I started out when I was 8 years old. I started with Coach Pitch. Then I was actually a catcher whenever I was 8. And I was a catcher for a year. And then I decided that wasn't for me because I could not drop and block at all. And I went straight to pitching. And ever since then, I've been a pitcher since. The way I found Brevard College is Bree actually was at Columbia when she was talking to me. And since COVID happened, there wasn't really a spot anywhere. So she was like, if I can go somewhere and have a spot for you, then you'll come. And then she found Brevard. And she texted me. Well, actually, she called me whenever she got here. And she was like, I need you to come up on a visit. Literally the week after, she got the job. And I knew then that I wanted to come here. So then my parents were like, well, let's see how things go. And I'm like, nope, I'm coming. Don't care. I'm coming. So that's really how I found Brevard, was through Coach Bree.
Very cool. And also joined by Jasmine Webb, the freshman outfielder out of Morganton, North Carolina. Same question for you, Jasmine. Tell us about your softball journey. When did you first, grab a glove or a bat and get this whole thing started? And tell us how it went from there.
Well, I started when I was in elementary school. I think Coach Pitch also. I grabbed a glove and I was a catcher until like my senior year of high school. And Coach Bree kind of just reached out to me last few months of high school. Was like, hey, would love for you to come up here. And I came up here on a visit, and Brevard was just my home.
Very good. Well, we're so excited to have you here. And Mikayla Morgan, the senior shortstop from Robbinsville, North Carolina. Mikayla, you've been on the show before. We've learned your journey, but where I'd like to take this is this Sunday is senior day. It's coming quick here, and here we go. It'll be a senior day ceremony. I know you've got a lot to go as far as the rest of this softball season and also the rest of the semester and so forth. But when you think about senior day and the idea that, this experience of being a college softball player and, playing here at Brevard College, what comes to mind?
A lot of emotions at the same time, because I've also been playing since I was 3 years old. So my emotions are very high at this point and not wrapping my head around senior day yet. But I do love Brevard very much, and I've been blessed to have a school that I do and have coaches that I do and have teammates that I do, because without them, I don't think I would be where I'm at right now without them. So.
Well said. Grace Reynolds, your coaches talked a little bit about this idea of, the senior class and how, these games are so important and, how you guys are working collectively together, but, also this idea of, let's make this happen for these seniors. Can you expound a little further on that sort of mentality and just how special it is that, have a senior class like the one you guys do?
So our senior class, like whenever we are struggling, they help the team come back together. And we had a meeting after the coaches left for our second game. And basically it was like, get it together for us because we're basically here for y'all and we need the win, especially for conference. But it was also like really, it wasn't a bad talk or anything. It was actually really nice. And Serena basically helped us get the shell that we needed during the time that we needed it.
Yeah, Serena Rogers, Lucky, who Grace is mentioning there. And Jasmine, we'll let you comment as well. As a freshman, I'm sure it's very meaningful to have, seniors and strong leadership on the team, student athletes who can, show you around campus and things you might need to, just need help with on everyday life as a student, but certainly on the softball field as well. I'd love your comments on how valuable, the upperclassmen have been to yourself and the freshman class.
Oh, I love my seniors this year. Mikayla Morgan, that's on the show tonight, she's helped me out a tremendous amount with hitting. I look up to her a lot. And Serena and Caitlin Olive, they've helped me out a lot, just like controlling my emotions and just having a good vibe all the time from them. Me and Serena talk a lot about how the team is just like it's a good environment. And then there's also like Lindsay Toll. She's always there for you, no matter who you are, where. She's just a great person to be around. And I think we all look up to our seniors a lot.
Fantastic. Just a couple more before we let you all go. Academics, would love to hear what each of you are up to as far as your course of study. Mikayla Morgan, you're heading towards graduation. Tell us what the degree is going to be in.
So my degree is in psychology, and I'm also going to go to grad school for mental health.
Very good. And Grace Reynolds, what are you working on in the classroom?
I'm a business major, a criminal justice minor, and an education minor.
Outstanding. And Jasmine Webb, a freshman student athlete. I know, part of this process as a freshman is sort of figuring things out, but, have you zeroed in on a major yet?
I think I'm going to be a criminal justice major.
Very good. All excellent selections here at Brevard College. All right, before we let you go, as is tradition here at Tornado Talk, you each are going to have the opportunity for any shout outs or thank yous, anybody that's helped you along the way. And we'll start with the senior, Mikayla Morgan. Shout outs or thank yous?
I would like to shout out to my mom and dad for always being there and picking me up when I'm down. I also want to give the Lord the glory for given me the opportunity to play and be the person I am today. Also, shout out to Coach Bree, Coach Emily, and Coach Taylor, because they're a big part of my life, and they always will be.
Well said. And congratulations, Mikayla. We're going to talk plenty more, before, this season's over, I'm sure. But I just want to congratulate you on behalf of NATO Nation and the entire senior class. We can't wait to be out there on Sunday and honor you all. Grace Reynolds, same opportunity for you. Shout outs or thank yous?
I'd like to shout out everyone who's watching back home, and shout out to my parents for always being there whenever I need them to. And I know that the Ward's basically the one who blessed me with pitching and everything. And
very good. And Jasmine Webb joining us as well. Shout outs or thank yous, Jasmine?
I'd like to give a big shout out to my grandparents who have been there my whole life. They've raised me basically. They just keep pushing me every day. And I'd also like to give a big shout out to my brother, who I know I can always talk to whenever I need a chance to.
Outstanding. Mikayla Morgan, Grace Reynolds, Jasmine Webb, members of the Brevard College softball team. You can see these student athletes tomorrow, Tuesday, 1 and 3 o'clock at the BC softball field. We'll also be broadcasting live on the YouTube channel. And then senior day on Sunday here at the BC softball field, another chance to see these student athletes. Make sure you come on out. 1 o'clock first pitch, senior day ceremony prior to the first game. Ladies, great job on the program this evening. It's been great to have you on Tornado Talk, and can't wait to see you at the BC softball field.
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you.
All right, there they go. And we're going to quickly transition to lacrosse as we're shifting from softball to women's lacrosse. And joining us now, women's lacrosse assistant coach Roya Tahmassebi and also student assistant Toby Naylor. Coach Tahmassebi, how are you?
I'm good, Phil. How are you?
Very good. And Toby Naylor joining the program as well. First time in this coaching role. Coach Naylor, how you doing?
I'm good. Thanks, Phil.
Very good. Well, Coach Roya, let's start with you. Looking back last week, a 12-10 win over Ferrum. It was one of these, non-conference matchups, but a game that I'm sure you all wanted to keep the momentum going and able to deliver with that 12-10 win. Take us back in that matchup and kind of how that one all went down.
Yeah, this was a huge win for us. We're all excited about it. I mean, we started off strong against this team and we kept that momentum going. There was one player on their team, number 13, who she's a good player. And we ended up, partway through the game, sticking one of our defenders, Elise, on her. It's just a man mark. We're like, keep her out of the game. And I mean, Elise did amazing with that. And I mean, it was just an overall from defense to offense effort. And, we kept the momentum going from the start to finish. And it was a great game.
And also with us, Toby Naylor. Members of NATO Nation, loyal viewers and listeners of Tornado Talk probably know Toby from his days as a football student athlete. He continues, that career on the gridiron, but now getting into the coaching side of things and of all sports, women's lacrosse. Coach Naylor, tell us a little bit about this coaching journey of yours and, how this experience has been this spring.
Yeah, it's been really fun, honestly. Definitely a new sport for me. I'd seen, obviously, lacrosse games before being on campus and whatnot. But I hadn't really paid too much close attention to the rules and really the ins and outs of the game. So it's been really fun kind of getting to learn the sport a lot more. There's a lot to it, that's for sure. And it's really interesting, exciting to be a part of. And the team, not to mention, is great. Like these girls are amazing. They come in, they work hard every single day. They're a lot of fun to be around, whether it's at practice, at games, in the weight room. So yeah, it's just been really enjoyable overall, the whole experience.
And Coach Tahmassebi, I know it's a blessing to yourself and also head coach Kristen Rosado to have a gentleman like Toby Naylor as part of the coaching staff. Tell us what you're noticing as far as Coach Naylor's development as a coach.
Yeah, I mean, from the start, I feel like he was doing what all new coaches do. I mean, you're a sponge. You're taking in everything that you're hearing. He did a good job of asking questions about things, just kind of picking our brains. Riz and I now working together for over a year, we kind of pick up on things. So her and I can kind of look at each other, say a couple words and be like, yep, okay, got it. And Toby would be like, okay, can we talk about that? Like, what do you guys mean? And now it's gotten to the point where he's giving his input, and it's good input. I mean, he's not only asking questions, but he's kind of putting in specifics here and there. He's kind of giving us tips, hey, I think the defender should be doing this in this certain situation. Little things here and there. So you can tell already now that his IQ of the game of lacrosse is growing, and his confidence with, what he's talking about with the way that we're playing on the field here and there it's growing. It's cool to watch.
Yeah, no doubt. And a little further on this idea, Coach Naylor, what are the things you're noticing about the sports of women's lacrosse in particular, and perhaps some of the things that have surprised you about this sport?
I think the biggest thing that surprised me while being involved in the sport is just the physical demand it has. Because it is tough. It is a lot definitely to handle, on the body, on the mind. There's a lot to it. And I think another thing is the mental game. Because obviously, there's physical attributes. You have to be quick, you have to be agile, you have to be sturdy on defense. But the mental side of it, how, I didn't realize there was almost plays that offense runs and schemes that defense runs. And things like that, and really just the small nuances of the game, and how girls will have a good IQ, and they'll be able to draw, shoot in space, and do all these things on purpose to manipulate the game. That has really been an awesome feature of the game that's opened my eyes and been really cool to learn about and just see overall.
Yeah, and Coach Tahmassebi, you are also the offensive coordinator for the Tornadoes, and Coach Naylor just touched on it a little bit. Would love for you to take listeners and viewers behind the curtain a little bit as far as how you guys sort of structure offense and defense and in the coaching responsibilities, but also from an offensive coordinator standpoint, what you're looking to accomplish other than the obvious, obviously scoring goals.
Yeah. I mean, kind of as you said it, the obvious is scoring goals, but there are ways to get there, and not every team plays defense the same way. So a lot of it is kind of behind the scenes work and scouting the teams that we're going against, and also picking apart the offensive players that we have. So taking the group that we have and saying, okay, what are our skills? What can we do really well? What can we not do very well? And then how do we play off of that? So we have girls that are really, confident with driving. We're going to make a play around them up at the top. A lot of what we're working on this year is kind of motions and movement, giving everybody an opportunity to score if they see it, giving everyone an opportunity to see kind of driving lanes, create driving lanes for each other. We're kind of working together. It's not just about one person. Everyone on offense has to be doing something in order for it to all work out. And we even switch it up. I mean, the offense that we were running at the beginning of the year is different than what we're running right now. And I plan to have it look different towards the end of the year. The plays that we have, you can scout really easy. And so those are ones that we kind of have to work on fixing. The motion we had before wasn't creating enough movement, so we threw something else in. So a lot of it is that too, is saying, okay, what do I think would work to create movement, which is what we need. If that's not working, great, throw it in the trash, try something else. So it's kind of a little bit of trial and error, as long as kind of knowing who the players are and where we can use their talents.
And Coach Toby Naylor, the Tornadoes are 6-2 overall and have won 4 of their last 5 games. What are the things you're noticing as far as, when the Tornadoes are on their game and when they're able to, ultimately get these victories that, is Tornado lacrosse is the kind of brand of lacrosse that, you all as a coaching staff want to see? What are the keys to all this winning?
I think a big thing is energy, really having a positive mindset. I know Coach Roya preaches that a lot, and she brings energy every game day. She's always hyped up. She's out there dancing, getting the girls going. So that's really a key thing, I think, is getting the girls in a happy mood, because they play so much better when they're happy and when they're confident and they're really bonding together. And I think another thing that's really key with this team is playing for each other. A lot of the girls are really close, and especially recently, they've really banded together. And when they're playing for each other and they're supporting each other, especially when they're cheering each other on. So, Emily Denega makes a goal, I can hear Lex screaming all the way on the other side, cheering her on. So things like that, and the kind of love these girls have for each other is a key component why I think they're succeeding, is because they're not just playing for themselves, they're playing for each other.
Mentioned Lex McLaughlin. She just won an award earlier today, recently announced the USA South Defensive Player of the Week. So big congratulations to her. And Coach Tahmassebi, we head into, this USA South Conference, crunch time really as we're coming down the stretch here. A road trip tomorrow at Pfeiffer and then at home on Saturday versus NC Wesleyan. Tell us a little bit about the week ahead and, the mindset of the Tornadoes going into these key conference matchups.
Yeah. As you said it, we play Pfeiffer tomorrow. That's a big one for us. Kind of our trend with Pfeiffer is we score a goal, they score a goal. It's very back and forth. And for the last couple years, Pfeiffer's been able to pull that momentum at the end of the game and take home the win. And this is what we're looking for this year, right? Is we're looking to take that momentum from them, come out strong, stay strong, and we're hoping to come back with that win. So Pfeiffer will be a really big game for us.
Yeah, and then this weekend, a chance for the fans to see the Tornadoes in action. 1:00 on Saturday. That's at Islamel Family Field right here at the campus of Brevard College when the Tornadoes host NC Wesleyan. And Coach Tahmassebi, it's also a special Morgan's Message game. And I know this is a very, very important program for the women's lacrosse program and also for lacrosse programs throughout the country. It's dedicated to the life and legacy of Morgan Rogers, a former Duke University lacrosse student athlete who tragically passed away back in 2019 after battling mental health struggles. And the idea, after this program was founded by her family and former teammates, is let's eliminate the stigma surrounding mental health, normalize conversations about mental health, and ensure that mental health is treated equally to physical health for all student athletes. This is of paramount importance. We suffered a tragedy in the USA South Conference with a men's lacrosse student athlete who unexpectedly passed away at Greensboro College. And it's just been a difficult time as of late, but this is so important to get this message out here. And we're going to do our best on Saturday to ring this bell and to get this message out there. But would love to hear your thoughts, Coach Tahmassebi, as far as, the importance of Morgan's Message and, and just how, you all as a lacrosse program are, not shy about getting behind, initiatives like this.
Yeah. So Morgan's Message, as you said, so it's a nonprofit organization. We had them come talk to our team in the fall. We did a leadership workshop with them, and they talked to us about the importance of not only understanding your own mental health, but understanding others and how to start conversations about that. Mental health has been kind of a taboo subject. And so creating a space where our student athletes can feel safe and comfortable talking about it is huge. Part of an athlete is the mental and physical. It's not just the body that's out there, but it's the brain that runs it. And you can see, I'll talk about my team specifically, but you can see the days when they're doing well are days that we're having good days. We bring home good wins. If they're not feeling great, you can see it in the way that they play. And so creating a space where my players feel comfortable not only talking about it, but advocating for themselves is huge. And it's something that we're hoping kind of rubs off on other teams, other people. That way it doesn't just stay within our program. We have 3 ambassadors for Morgan's Message on our team. That's Lex McLaughlin, Cassidy Hutto, and Emily Denega. So the 3 of them, props to them for creating this, and we're able to broadcast this kind of at our game, which is big. Just kind of bringing attention to it. It's an important matter. So hoping that people kind of start the conversation and go with it.
Yeah, I really commend yourself and Coach Rosado and the entire women's lacrosse program for getting it behind it with such fervor. Important message, and hope fans can come on out on Saturday, support the Tornadoes, but also support this important cause. Well, Roya Tahmassebi is not only the assistant coach, not only the offensive coordinator, not only the recruiting coordinator under head coach Kristen Rosado, but she also helps us out behind the scenes here on Tornado Talk and with the sports information department. And she's actually producing the show at the same time. So I'm wondering if we could do two things at once here and pull in our women's lacrosse student athletes on the fly and keep this party going here on Tornado Talk. Is joining the show now, Autumn Kraemer and Zan Hill. By the way, nice job, Roya. You just popped them right in here without anybody noticing. But hey, Autumn Kraemer and Zan Hill are here. Toby, we're going to start with you. Coach Naylor, tell us a little bit about these two student athletes, the things you're seeing from them out there on the lacrosse field and what they bring to the table.
All right, well, I'll start with Autumn because I've known her the longest. So I originally, obviously, just knowing her as a student, as a friend, as a classmate, have a great relationship with her. But seeing her on the lacrosse field, it's like a whole different side of her. I mean, she is a captain on the team. She commands the leadership of the girls, and she won't hesitate to stop practice and help a girl out if she's struggling with a play, if she's struggling with shooting technique. And I think that side of her has been awesome to see, just how she sticks up for the girls, how she's the loudest one out there, always holding them accountable and keeping the energy up. So that's been a great side to see of her. And she really does come on the field, not only through her leadership, but through her play. And then Zan is extremely athletic. I'm obviously newer to meeting Zan. She's a freshman coming in, but already she's taken the field by storm, super athletic out there, making girls miss all the time and ripping off crazy shots that have me, guessing where the hell that went, because, just super athletic, a lot of upside and a lot of potential. So these two girls, I can't say enough about them.
Well done, Coach Naylor. Coach Tahmassebi, anything to add to that?
Yeah. With Autumn, being the leader that she is, it's amazing to see. And you can see her influence on the other players on the field, which is awesome. Autumn is one of the most physically and mentally strong athletes that I have seen. And it's beautiful to watch her play this. Regardless of what's going on, knee injury after knee injury, she's still out there with a smile on her face, ready to go. And her drive to be better and make this team better it's really beautiful to watch. So we're very appreciative of everything that she does. And Zan, Toby hit it on the spot. She's athletic. Kind of the other part of that, right? She's a good runner, but everything I tell her to do, she just goes, okay, and figures it out. I'm like, okay, why don't we switch up the way you take your 8 meter? She's like, okay, cool, I'll do this. And I'm like, great, why don't you do it this way? Okay. And just does it. And I challenge her with that. I push her a little bit, and she takes it with a smile on her face, and she keeps trying, and she keeps trying to get better. And that's everything that you could ask for in an athlete. It's just that strive to keep growing.
Very good. Coach Roya Tahmassebi, also student assistant coach Toby Naylor. Thanks so much for joining us on this edition of Tornado Talk. We can't wait to see you out there on Saturday at Ives Lamel Family Field. Best of luck with the trip to Pfeiffer. Thanks for joining the show.
Thanks, Phil.
Thank you.
All right, there they go. And Autumn Kraemer and Zan Hill have joined the conversation as well. Now, Zan Hill in that upper right corner. Zan, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Outstanding. Welcome to Tornado Talk. Great to have you on for your debut episode. And Autumn Kraemer is back as well. Autumn, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Thanks.
Yeah, great to have you with us. Autumn, let's start with you. The team is playing great. 6-2 on the season, wins in 4 of the last 5 contests, coming off this 12-10 win over Ferrum. That was after a big road win at Huntington, part of USA South Conference play. Autumn, you've been part of this program for a few years now, of course, and I'd love to hear from you as far as, what's working, what's the difference this season as far as, you guys being able to put together these results?
I think a lot of it has to do with Roya and Riz. They are always constantly figuring out new ways to put our offense together, put our defense together, always adjusting when we need to. And the team itself, we're very close this year. We all work so hard at practice every day, and we're just pushing ourselves this year more than we have in the past.
Yeah, and Zan Hill with us as well, big part, early impact as a freshman here at Brevard College. Zan, the days when you guys are clicking and you guys are able to score those goals and also limit your opponent and come away with the win, what's the key to those days when you guys are able to play so well?
I think it's the family that we have created. After every
little timeout or even just at the beginning, we always clap and say family and come together. And also just having fun, because if one person gets down on each other, I know Autumn has picked me up a couple of times on the field and said, you got this, keep your head up, like if you drop a ball or anything. So I think it's mostly just like everyone coming together is just a big part.
Yes, that makes a lot of sense. No doubt, Zan, I appreciate that answer. Autumn Kraemer, senior attacker out of Stewartstown, Pennsylvania. Great to have you on the show. Once again, you're having another great season. Autumn, earlier this year, you won the IWLCA National Player of the Week award. Actually, the second time this season a tornado has won that award, which is just kind of wild in its own right. But, I'd love for you to reflect back on that. One, the week that you had leading up to that earned you that award, but also, when the award was announced and how you learned of it and how that kind of went down.
I was so excited when I found out that I got the award. The game previous to that, or the week leading up to that, was such a fun game to play. We really dominated the field. We were clicking as a team. It was so much fun. I believe that was on our spring break trip also. And I learned about the award. I think Roya told me, and I was really excited. And the first thing I did was thank my teammates, because no lacrosse game gets won without playing as a team, and no awards get handed out without my teammates' efforts, because I only play attack. So the defense had to have big stops. The midfield had to move the ball for me. And it was just a whole team effort in that.
Yeah, reflecting back on the specifics, you scored a program record 12 points. It was an 18-5 win over Sweetbriar. It was indeed over spring break. Your memory there is correct. And, just really an amazing performance. And, it's great to see Brevard College Tornadoes and student athletes like yourself, receive national recognition, for a performance. Really cool. And as we mentioned, the second award this season by a Tornado, with Parker Moore winning it in week one of the year. Zan, as a freshman, now part of this program, when you see these seniors, kind of, lead the way, tell us a little bit about what you've learned from the upperclassmen and players like, Autumn and Parker and on down the list, as far as, the leaders on this team. But, you as a freshman and the other freshmen in the freshman class have certainly got up to speed quickly.
I will say coming in as a freshman is a big scare, because you don't know how they play with each other or what it's going to be like or their connections. But I will say I have grown more as a player in the past 2 months, 3 months that we've been practicing than I have the 10 years I've played. And that's because of Autumn and Parker. Like, our connections are just very good. Like, I know when Parker's going to drive, so move out the way, or when Autumn's going to roll the crease and you just draw and dump to her, or Emily. Like, we just connect very well. And I will say, it's just a huge family, and coming in, having the support from all them is just the best thing.
Zan, let's stick with you, because you set me up perfectly. You said you've been playing lacrosse 10 years. Would love for you to tell us about how you found the sport and how that kind of all got started, and then how it evolved from there, as far as you becoming very serious about it and ultimately a collegiate student athlete for women's lacrosse.
So it started with my mom going on Facebook and finding a post, and calling my grandmother and telling me that I'm playing the sport. So I didn't really have a choice. And I got a boy's stick for my first stick, not knowing there was 2 different sticks. And then after the first practice, it was just I don't know how to describe it. I love the sport. I fell in love with it. And then I started playing club in second grade, and then played club all through elementary and some middle. And then my 8th grade year, I joined the JV team for my high school. And then my freshman through senior year, I was on the varsity team. And then I didn't know if I wanted to play lacrosse in college. But my senior year, after people started committing, I was like, I just kind of want to keep going. So then Roya reached out to me, and I came here and I visited for the first day, and I committed on the spot. Autumn was there, and I asked, how can I commit right now? And that was the first time I've been to this campus. So
Outstanding. Well, we're thrilled that you found us, Zan, and a great start to your collegiate career, no doubt about that. Autumn, Zan touched on something there, as far as like the appeal of women's lacrosse and how it is such a great sport to pick up if you're a young athlete, maybe, looking for the sport that might be right for you. You come from a part of the country up in Stewartstown, Pennsylvania, where lacrosse is huge up there. But I would love for you to comment on, lacrosse as such a great experience for you student athletes who get the chance to play this special sport.
Yeah, so obviously it's really big where I am, and Maryland area, I'm right there, so really big there. I think lacrosse has given me so much in my life, a family, discipline, life lessons. With any sport, you get the discipline aspect, the maturity and things that come with playing as a team and being a good teammate. I think women's lacrosse in general creates such strong bonds with these like women that I'm playing with. I see them every single day, and they're my support system sometimes. Athletic wise, obviously, like you have to be athletic to play lacrosse. It's not jogging on the field ever. So it's definitely tough, but I think that is part of the appeal. It's mentally challenging and physically challenging.
Big week ahead, Autumn, for the Tornadoes. You guys hit the road tomorrow for another conference matchup against Pfeiffer, then back at home on Saturday versus NC Wesleyan. What's going to be the key, Autumn, as far as you all keeping these winning ways going and keeping this momentum going as we head even further into conference play?
I think playing as a team, we need our defense to have big stops. We need our midfielders to win the draw for us. We need our attack to play as a team, move the ball, move our feet. Energy is going to be a big thing for us. I know sometimes on our weekday games, we're just so exhausted, and that comes with all the things that life has us doing right now on top of lacrosse. But I think tomorrow we get a good start early and we get to travel together and get our energy up high.
Yeah, and Zan, a big part of the offense, which is putting together some big totals. You've scored 11 goals this year, but tell us a little more about the offense and what the key to you all as a unit is to continue scoring those goals.
I think the key to the offense is just recognizing what your teammates are capable of doing, and also knowing like this girl is going to go this way to shoot, or if she's not confident with like your left hand, she's obviously going to go to her right. And also just the connections. I know when I'm up top and Autumn's down low, like I can always hit her with the feed and know that she'll finish it with the shot. So I feel like going into these games this week, the connections just have to be there. Even if we drop a ball, like we just pick each other up and keep going and not get down on ourselves. Like Roya tells me, move on, get the next one, you got it. And I just feel like we have to keep doing that.
Very good. Autumn Kraemer, senior attacker out of Pennsylvania. Autumn, what are you up to in the classrooms? What degree are we heading towards here?
So I'll graduate with my health science major and a psychology minor. I'm only taking 3 classes this semester because I loaded early, so I'm kind of just floating through this semester, ready to get to graduation. But after college, I plan on taking a little gap semester and working in the healthcare field somewhere, preferably in like a counseling field, while I study for my MCAT and go to medical school.
Outstanding. Well, congratulations and best of luck as that journey continues. And Zan Hill, a freshman here at Brevard College, I know it's early in your academic collegiate career, but have you zeroed in on a major?
I'm a business major and then hopefully minoring in math.
Very good. All right. Well, before we let you go, and we'll stick with you, Zan, shout outs and thank yous. It's kind of a thing here at Tornado Talk. And this is your opportunity to give a shout out or thank you anybody who's helped you along the way, anybody who might be tuning into this program. The floor is yours, Zan.
I want to give a big shout out to my grandparents, especially my grandfather. He hasn't missed a game since I started playing. He's like a big role model to me, and he missed his first game last week, so it was kind of a different mindset for me. A big thank you to Parker Moore and Ashton Cashwell because
they are like my rocks. They have really like helped me mentally whenever I'm on the field. I look at Ash and she gives me a little pep talk and tells me you got to get going. And then Parker Moore, she's become one of my closest friends.
Very good. Well said. And also with us, of course, Autumn Kraemer, the senior. You know how this goes, Autumn. Same opportunity for you.
Yeah, I want to thank and shout out to my mom and my boyfriend and my family back home watching. Love them and all of their support. My teammates, Elise and Mare, and everyone watching. Love you all so much. And Riz and Roya, just for always being such a great support system for us.
Outstanding. Zan Hill, Autumn Kraemer from the BC Women's Lacrosse team. We'll see you out there on Saturday. Best of luck with the trip to Pfeiffer this week, and great job on the show. Thanks for joining Tornado Talk.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to switch gears very quickly here and bring in our head men's and women's tennis coach, Brad Jones. Coach, thanks for joining the program.
Yeah, happy to be back, Phil.
Yeah, great to have you. And what a weekend you all had on the road this weekend. A couple big wins against William Peace, women's tennis with an 8-1 victory. On the men's side, the same score, 8-1. Let's start there, Coach. What was the key to that success, and tell us how that day went down for the Tornadoes.
Yeah, it was a good day. The key was basically going into doubles, starting off strong, starting off fast with a lot of energy. And, I think with the guys, that momentum and that same energy carried over to singles, which, 4 out of the 6 singles matches went to 3 sets. So I think that kind of getting off to an early start in doubles with the men's really helped with the momentum and everything. The ladies, we just really had to show up and play our games. I knew that we could, if we showed up, played our games, they would play very well. And, against a team that's in a school that has a, pretty good program.
Yeah, and you're right, that fast start on the double side, on the men's side, Bryce Bernitt, who's going to be on the program later with Noah Lewis, early statement with an 8-6 victory in number 1 doubles, Jamarcus Walker and James Sursich. They've been a great pairing throughout the year, 8-5 in their win. And then a new name to Brevard College tennis, Jaden Carnes teaming with Brian Sion, and they get it done in Carnes' debut as a collegiate tennis student athlete. He's a member of the basketball team as well. They win 8-3. Would love for you to comment on those doubles pairs and how effective each of those are, but especially that number 3 doubles and the performance of Jaden and Brian.
Yeah, no. With Jaden, we had a few injuries at our number 3. We had a concussion and stuff like that. And then we have a few other things going on. So I kind of called the reserves. I said, hey, I need you. I know you just got done with basketball, dealing with an ankle injury. Would you travel with us? And, he said, Coach, yeah. And I know, I kind of know him a little bit from high school, playing in the North Carolina State Championships and all that stuff. So I knew doubles-wise he was there, especially when, as tall as he is. And then, the other pairings, I think Jamarcus and James play very well. They play number 3 usually for us anyway. So I think, that I wanted to keep them together. I think that would have helped us at 2. And then, Bryce and Noah. Bryce's his game has really turned it on over the past year and a half, and Noah's a pretty good doubles player. So it's kind of just having them feed off of one another, hit shots that they, need to hit high percentage, and just kind of, focus on winning.
And speaking of doubles teams, as we go back to the women's side, Hannah Hirsch and Allie Kogoy earlier today, some breaking news, named USA South Conference doubles team of the week. Would love to hear your reaction of that, Coach, and just how effective those two are.
Yeah. Well, like I said previous, their games match one another. So I think, Hannah brings a lot of power. Allie brings a lot of control. So it's really just getting them on the same page, communication, feeling good in warm-ups. So that kind of transitioned over into doubles because you don't have a warm-up anymore. So it's once you're done with warm-ups, you play. So it's really getting that warm-up. And I think that's one reason why it helped us waiting 2 hours, because when we got there, the courts were wet. So, it gave us time after that 4.5 hour drive to stretch, run. We bumped some volleys back on the court stuff. I made a few of them squeegee the court. So, that helped them, get stretched and stuff. But no, I think, just the way they communicate in their game styles.
In the women's team in particular, coach has been playing just outstanding. 6-1 record in the month of March. What a month of March as we head from March into April. I know that started, a lot of that was done on that spring break trip down to Hilton Head Island, but just some outstanding results, match in and match out for the women's team. When you see that number, coach, as far as, that kind of month, what comes to mind?
I don't want it to end, but no, that's just a true testament of the hard work that each and every lady on my team has put in at practice. They come in, they work. When we ask them to do stuff and they don't get it, they still try. They may, resist a little, but, at the end of the day, they give it all they can and they put their nose down, they work hard. And as a coach, that's really all you can ask for. So that hard work is finally paying off, especially, I guess, in the month of March.
There's going to be a scrimmage on Wednesday. This was added to the schedule versus Piedmont. And then the women's team will be in action on Saturday, April the 1st, taking on Meredith. That's 11 a.m. at the McCoy Tennis Complex. If you want to come on out also for the scrimmage, that's 4 o'clock on Wednesday. But, big one on Saturday for the women's team. And, Coach, tell us about this week ahead, the schedule, adding the scrimmage, and obviously, big conference matches from here on out.
Yeah, we have some big matches coming up ahead with Meredith, and then not looking too far ahead to Pfeiffer. So adding the scrimmage against Piedmont's just really going to kind of help us out, dial it in a little bit more than what we have been doing, and really just kind of seeing what we need to improve over these next 2 matches. Meredith's going to be tough, but it's really kind of the Pfeiffer match is the one that's really going to decide, where we're going to be ranked in my opinion, in the conference tournament going in, and kind of how well we do moving forward after that match.
And down the road a little bit, as you mentioned, but do want NATO Nation to mark their calendars for Wednesday, April the 12th, Senior Day at McCoy Tennis Complex at Greensboro at 3 p.m. Coach, I'm sure you and I will talk plenty more between now and then, but would love for you to tell, our audience, just how special this senior class is. And, if they can mark their calendars and come on out on that Wednesday afternoon, it's going to be a special day.
Yeah. Basically, they came in when I came in. So we started kind of the show together, watching them grow on the court, off the court, personally in their lives, professionally, and what they want to do. It's kind of, it's sad to see them go, but you're also happy to been a part of their lives, a part of their development, and really just looking forward to what's next in their lives after Brevard. And I think all of them have a lot of bright futures ahead, and it's it's nice to be able to come in with a group of kids that gave their all for you and asked what you've done, asked what you to do for them, and asked of them. And it's, they all have a bright future.
Yeah, really special stuff. Hope fans can get on out there for the Senior Day later in the month of April. Well, Coach, the expectations are high, and, certainly, a lot of success so far this season, but coming down the stretch here, tell us, both on the men's and the women's side, just the focus that it's going to take, and also, certainly, some key matchups here in the USA South Conference as far as you all reaching your goals. Tell us, kind of the mindset of you as the coach, but also, what you're trying to convey to the team down the stretch here.
Yeah, I mean, now we're in the middle of conference play, it's a lot of rest, to be honest with you. We're dealing with a few injuries on both teams, and it's just resting physically, mentally. So then when we do get in these tough matches, we can kind of solely focus on what we need to do to, in that match or in that point set, or really just in that moment, having the tunnel vision and just focusing on what we need to do to succeed. Coaching wise, it's more of just, figuring out what they're doing well, what's the momentum in their games, and trying to just correct what's not going well, and just keeping everything smooth. And really, you don't try to do too much, especially on the women's side when they're playing as hot as they are.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, Coach. Well, congratulations on all the recent success. A big weekend this past weekend as well. And looking forward to seeing the team back in action, beginning with that scrimmage on Wednesday and then seeing the women's team on Saturday. Coach, you got a few more minutes for us. We're going to bring in a couple of your student athletes into the program here.
Yes, sir.
As joining the program, Sophie Trantham in that bottom right location. Also, Bryce Bernitt is here as well. Coach, before we let you go, tell us a little bit about these two student athletes. What makes them special?
Yeah, Sophie, I mean, I think coming on the court, playing tennis, she has a very well-rounded game, from serves to groundies to slices to approach shots to volleys. I think her game is multidimensional, and I think what does that is her forehand. She plays with a traditional Eastern continental type forehand rather than a modern day semi-Western grip. So that allows her to be a little bit more offensive, especially on balls that's usually defensive for us, but she's able to kind of step in, either take it early on the rise or meet it wherever it is on in her strike zone to be able to put it and place it where she wants. In the classroom, can't ask more from her. I mean, I think, she gets it done in the classroom, and she's one of a handful of ladies on the team that really helps grow this program on and off the court. Bryce works his butt off, man. There's a reason why he's our number one singles player this year. I mean, puts in the time from practice to going out and playing matches, UTR events, you name it, he does it. So, and I think just over the short time he's been in the program, his game has really developed. Kind of with him, what I'm really proud about is, the grow and the maturity in the classroom with his academics. He's really focused on that this year, and it's really showing. And with both of them, they're just another example of, if you can get it done off the court, it will translate over in a positive way on the court and within their games. And I think, you can see that in a lot of our programs, and, especially with the kids in our program.
Nicely said, Coach. It certainly is indicative of, what we're trying to do as a mission here at Brevard College and with Brevard College Department of Athletics as well. Coach Jones, can't wait to see you out there at McCoy Tennis Complex sometime soon. Thanks for joining the program.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me.
All right, there he goes. And Coach introduced us to these two quite well, but in that upper right location now, the sophomore from Charlotte, North Carolina, Sophie Trantham. Sophie, thanks for joining the show.
Thank you.
And also with us, Bryce Bernitt has joined the program, the sophomore from Flowery Branch, Georgia. Bryce, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's great to have you guys. Well, Sophie, let's start with you. What a great weekend you guys had, both on the men's and the women's side at William Peace. You guys headed down there and really got it done. An 8-1 win on the women's side. Let's start with your doubles match. You played with Brooke Garland. Obviously, you guys have been through a lot of these rodeos together, but you guys got it done 8-1. Tell us a little bit about Saturday and that chemistry you have with Brooke.
Yeah, so Brooke and I, we play really well together. We bring each other up when we're down. If one of us is playing bad, the other one tells us to shake it off, and we just get along really well. I look up to her a lot in her game and as a person and who she is. And I just think we play really well together. She can place her serve, and then I can take over at the net and put the ball away. And I think our game just complements each other really well.
And then you transition over to the singles side. I can't ask for anything more than this result, 6-0, 6-0 on the singles side. And in fact, you were one of 3 tornadoes to put together that result, zeros across the board. Savannah Anderson and Hamrick Perry also getting it done in that respect. Sophie, tell us a little bit about that. You play a doubles match, and then you've got to kind of get in this completely different mindset for singles. How does that go for you on any given match?
So usually I try to, if it's a bad doubles match, which usually it's not, we usually play pretty well, but say if it was a tough match, I try to not forget about it, but I try to clear my mind and start over fresh in my singles match, because once you're on your own, you have your own thoughts in your head and you don't have your teammate there to pick you up when you're down. So I just really have to keep a positive attitude and go into it. And I have a different strategy in singles, so I use that instead of my double strategy.
Also with us, Bryce Bernitt, and Bryce coming off a big day out there at William Peace as well. 8-1 win on the men's side, and all started, as Coach mentioned, with this 3-0 sweep in doubles play. You were teamed with Noah Lewis. Tell us a little bit about your match. You and Noah, you guys end up with the 8-5 win. How you guys sort of play off of each other, and obviously you're able to come up with the victory on Saturday.
Yeah, it went well. We finally got a W, which was deserved. We were on a little bit of a losing streak, but we kept spirits high and were able to push through against a good team. Like the competition was good, and it was a hard fought match, and it blended. Sometimes it's on and sometimes it's not, but it was on Saturday, so it went well.
And Bryce, then you transition to the single side. You're playing number one singles. You defeated your opponent 6-2, 6-4 on Saturday. But tell us a little bit about your game. How would you describe yourself as a tennis player, and especially in those singles matches where it's mano a mano against the opponent?
I'd say my game is like grinding a point out, making sure I never miss a ball or never get outrun on the court. I'll be there until the end of time, running in every single ball I can get down, because being consistent is a big part in tennis, and people may be mistaking big hitting for better play, but sometimes it's all about just being able to get the ball in the court and keeping the point alive.
Well, we've been talking a lot about doubles teams and singles performances and that kind of thing, but what people might not realize, Sophie, is just how much of a team sport college tennis is. And obviously you got to get it done in your individual match, but you all are looking for the team victory every time you guys go out to play, and the women have been playing great as of late, but would love for your comments on that, as far as you all as a unit and how you guys look out for each other, but also are looking to collectively earn that team win.
Yeah, so tennis really is, especially at the college level, it's really a team sport, because if all of us are on our game and we're doing our best, then we have a better chance of winning. And if someone's down, we go on and we go and cheer them on, and we support them in any way we can. I hear my teammates cheering for me when I'm playing. Like, we'll yell each other's names during our matches and stuff like that. And it's just a loud and good environment to be in. And I've never experienced this before. In high school, it was a lot different. Usually in high school matches, you don't yell. So it's a lot different. It's more of like a big family supporting each other. So.
Yeah, and the women have been on an absolute roll as of late. Y'all keep on getting it done. So congratulations on that. And right there, 6-1 in the month of March. What a month of March! This is when we'll continue to celebrate and remember. Sophie, as far as those days that you guys are able to get the win, what do you think is the key to those winning performances, and when you guys get to fly that W flag?
Really just a good attitude. If you don't have a good attitude, you're not going to have a chance at winning. If you go into it pumped up and a good mindset, then you have a better chance. You can't get down on yourself during a match. If you hit a bad ball, you just have to forget about it and go on to the next point, because if you let that affect you, it's going to affect the rest of the game. So it's really just having a positive mindset and supporting all of your teammates.
Yeah, and similar question for you, Bryce, as far as this team mentality. You guys obviously want to get it done individually and that kind of thing, but end of the day, you're looking to fly that W flag as well. Oh yeah, it's definitely like a big team sport compared to high school, where you're like Sophie said, you're used to a quiet environment. You gotta really get used to the noise playing college tennis, and it takes time, but once you get used to being able to be loud and proud and support, it makes it a lot easier to be able to come together as a team and create like a good environment, a good space to play in, and a good home environment to try to pick up some wins. Yeah, one of my favorite moments at any given college match is when there's only one match left and everybody kind of works their way over, and the two teams are supporting their teammates and that kind of thing. Sophie, I see you nodding your head. It is kind of a special deal and makes it a lot of fun too, right?
It does. It's a lot of fun when everyone's cheering for just one court, because you're all there together, because usually if there's multiple courts, we split up so we can go and support everybody. But when it's just one court, you really are not fighting with like the other team, but like having like a battle of who can cheer the loudest and stuff like that. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and Bryce, it makes a difference, right? When you hear your teammates cheering behind you, and getting that spirit going.
Oh yeah, definitely. It helps, especially on some crucial points. Maybe it's deuce, and you need that point to win the game. It helps a lot for sure.
Yeah, because usually those matches that, when it gets to that point, we're in some long territory in terms of tiebreakers and that sort of thing. Well, great to have you both with us, Sophie Trantham and Bryce Bernitt. Sophie, tell us a little bit about what you're up to in the classroom.
Well, I just declared my second major, so I'm a double major in criminal justice and psychology. I'm not sure completely what I want to do with it yet, but there's a couple routes I can take, either counseling or something in the crime lab, doing forensics with psychology, something like that.
And Bryce Bernitt with us as well. Bryce, tell us what you've been working on academically.
I'm an exercise science major with a Bachelor of Arts for exercise science, and I've been working hard. My grades last year were a little rough, but I've tried my best to bring everything back to keep my GPA on the rise, and I'm not sure what I want to do yet either. Just working on day by day, getting my classwork done.
Very good. Well, enjoyed having you both on here on Tornado Talk. Do want to give you both the opportunity for shout outs or thank yous. Anyone that's perhaps helped you along the way. Bryce Bernitt, we'll get things started with you. Any shout outs or thank yous for us?
Yeah, shout out my teammates. I love all of them. They're there for me, and I'm there for y'all. Shout out my parents, because they've been supportive through tennis, and shout out my coaches from back home too, because they were there for me even when I was just starting out and getting my foot in gear in tennis. So shout out them.
Yeah, well done, Bryce Bernitt. Same opportunity for you, Sophie. Shout outs for us?
First off, shout out to Coach Jones for giving me the opportunity to play here at this school. I'm so thankful and grateful that I have this opportunity. Shout out to my parents. I wouldn't be here without them. They pushed me super hard, and they're always here for me. I can always count on them. And shout out to my coach back home, Coach John. He means the world to me, and he is truly the reason why I love tennis and how I love to play.
Very good. Sophie Tran and Bryce Bernitt from the Brevard College tennis program. Great to have you both with us. We can't wait to see you again in action at the McCoy Tennis Complex. It's been a lot of fun to follow you all season long, and I know there's plenty more to come. Great job on the show tonight. Thanks for joining the program.
Thank you.
All right, there they go. And we're going to wrap this up and look forward to seeing you hopefully at an upcoming Brevard College Tornado event. There's all sorts of action beginning tomorrow with softball. We've got games through the weekend. Your best bets, go to bctornadoes.com or follow the Tornadoes on social media and keep up with all the latest, and really appreciate your ongoing support of Brevard College Tornado Athletics. Special thanks to producer Roya Tahmassebi and also Cass Hutto and Emily Denega for their production support behind the scenes as well. We'll see you at an upcoming Tornado Athletic event. Go Tornadoes!